Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. Apologies for the lateness of this video. I have been sitting on these models since they were first released, and I have been desperately searching for specific things that I printed, and it took me forever to find them. But I wanted to give everybody a quick friendly reminder that Bestiarium Miniatures' current Penitent Crusade is going to be coming to an end very soon, and if you're watching this after the fact, that's okay, because you can probably still pick up the pledges, or at least the models, via whatever method you choose in the far future, right? So anyway, I wanted to talk about these because, number one, I've always been a big fan of Bestiariums. Number two, they're just really cool models. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that the campaign, which has been greatly successful, is offering up a bunch of different stuff, and I wanted to just kind of really focus on that. So in front of us, we've got a painted supplicant. And one of the nice things about these models is the fact that, well, for starters, this isn't the first time we have seen the Penitent Crusade. They have been around before on Bestiarium, and that was one of the things that I've been searching for, was quite a few of the painted character models. Obviously, this guy is not painted, but if you enjoy this model, I know that they have a new version of him available, both mounted on a Manticore, I believe, and on foot, but with some reworked stuff. This is the original, and I also want to say, if you go with the STL files, they were offering up the original STLs as well, included with the pledges, so that might be something worth checking out if you want to just have an incredibly huge backlog of nice-looking models. One of the interesting things, though, is I want to say part of the rework, besides new poses, details, and things like that, is the fact that they got rid of all of the real-world religious items and have replaced them with their own little fantasy one, which is out of right there by my thumb, which is interesting because, speaking of extra files and choices, I know one of the stretch goals of the campaign was to allow people to pick a themed set of your choice, and funny enough, they had a while back a set of villagers, actually. That may not be the most cleaned up pose, but you can see she's got that little religious icon on there as well. And they had some fun villagers looking for salvation from the Crusaders. Or you can go all in and have the debauched revelers that are all tuckered out from all that debauchery. These guys are all models that are actually supposed to be hanging out with the Black Goat of the Woods, which was another fun set from Bestiarium. It's also one of their more ridiculously large monstrosities, if we can even fit him entirely on the screen. Nope, it doesn't look like it, but he is a big boy. That is a horn, by the way, between his legs. Don't get any of the wrong implications. But if you are looking for something to supplement, let's say, your Trench Crusade forces, which we'll talk about in a sec, this might be a fun set to look into as well, and had all kinds of interesting poses that somehow, for as wild as they get, remain pretty okay for the tabletop, but the implication is absolutely there. Getting back on track to the actual Penitent Crusade and not into the debauched revelry of the followers of the Black Goat of the Woods. One of the cool things is, so this is, as I said, one of the supplicants, one of the basic foot troops of the Penitent Crusade. They do have quite a few different options. I forget what these guys are called. I'll let you guys figure that out. These are the basic grunt starved fanatics in rags and crappy armor, ready to be led by the more valorous forces, I guess, into battle. One of the neat things about both of these kits is they do have options available, and they are completely cross-compatible. You can see here one built a little bit different. And I had some of the kind of wretch-looking dudes with swords as well, and I can't find them. They also had pole arms available, and you can see here he is getting ready for some trench warfare, which actually is one of the cooler things of this set. They had a whole collection of bits available to completely recast all of their models as trench-style fighters. Now, a lot of them also had all of their gear kind of pre-printed, but they are completely modular, as I get this guy on the screen there. So oftentimes, like our little Reggie friends here, bodies like that. I thought I had some basic supplicant bodies. I don't. We have the repentants, which are a little bit bigger on 32mm, and I can't find the ones with the great swords. But they have submachine guns and close combat weapons, if that's something you're into. And as we were saying, with the various bits available, you can mix and match to your heart's content. We've got all the various head types that Bestiarium has put out. Not that it wants to stay in focus there. There we go. But if you want to, for example, get some of those pistols that they're using, that's an option. If you want to have a bunch of guys with flamethrowers, which they already have made, they've got all the tanks and hoses for those. If you want to load out everybody with stacks of Panzerfausts, I have about 40 of them printed at this point. If you're in need of little heretical icon shields, they've got plenty of those. There are various armor bits from every kit that you can grab on there. I mean, there are plenty of options. We have, like, if you want to go full wretch mode, Trench Crusade style, we've got the gas mask bodies. He's supposed to have some knives, and I don't know what I did with those. In addition to that, we've got actual, you know, legit hero models, one-off type things from the Penitent Crusade. And again, with the fact that you guys have access to older sets, I just wanted to point out some of the weird, fun figures that Bestiarium has put out. I wanted to say this is one of the guys from the Allstein set. Some of their Sky Pirates. Just Steam Pirates? I don't even remember now. I mean, yeah, I know I need to clean them up a little bit better, because when I have it at that 4x zoom, it's quite obvious that prints are not as neat as they need to be. Most of these are going to be single-piece figures. I'm going to say these are from the set. This is one of their Penitent Heroes. Their Penitent Heroes, in fact, have just been all kinds of bizarre and interesting. And I'm sure if you really wanted to find a use for them, you absolutely could. The blindfolded Beastman carrying a body on his back, for example. I mean, could you use these in things like Trench Crusade? Sure. Could you use them in your typical dark fantasy tabletop game? Sure. Another of the lioned peoples. What else we got? I mean, if you want to do some of their older models as wretches, you've got all these various... I want to say these are actually... These might be the guys that were part of the Penitent Crusade, or something else that were later replaced with these dudes, which would make some great zombies, I might add. If you want semi-armored raggedy zombies. It's kind of funny too, because they absolutely are made for bulk. When you print this stuff, they have them on the sprues. I think they had them available in, you know, individual pieces as well. But they are on the sprues because they did do a physical campaign, which I will try to find the link to. Some of their weirder hero models. I'm sure people can find a use for. I liked this set. I want to say these were one of their Crusade things, but I don't know what it is, why its limbs are so long, and the fact that it's carrying the little holy relic. Kind of weird and entertaining. Also of note, if you haven't had a chance, there was a recent survey on Bestiarium's website, and they had this nice Grimdark Hunter. I think that was the only way to get a hold of him. Mine is like 99% finished. We will wrap him up there. And if you're curious, because I know I always am, how these models scale, especially if you were somebody who is interested in getting physical versions of any of these figures. They scale quite nicely with various kit bashes or unofficial models. You can see there is a little bit of a scale difference. Grabbing some of the other stuff on the market, if you were to use as a base, any kind of Imperial model, War Games Atlantic stuff, you can see they work pretty well. In fact, my next idea, which I just haven't had time for, is to see about kit bashing some of the plastics of the various heads I have with some of these supplicant and Trench Crusade style bodies. Trencher body. I know it's not official Trench Crusade, but whatever. If you're curious about with like the actual models, let me see, where's those wretches? Like, I know I had some somewhere. I'd say they're going to work pretty good for what they are. Especially if you have some of their older, weirder stuff, I think it's going to fit in just as nicely. Okay, maybe not a Death Commando, but... I don't think the size is too much of an issue. And mostly I wanted to point this out because if you are going the route of getting physical releases from this, then that way I kind of hope you have an idea of what to expect in terms of size. Like, I know I have that anointed there. This guy was from an earlier release. I think it's from one of the pirate steampunk sets. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. If you guys are really in the market, I absolutely suggest browse through their site. There's lots of fun and interesting things there. We haven't even talked about any of the weird fungal myconid stuff. That was a human at one point. If you want to get really fun and grotesque in the body horror department, there's things like this. You want big, giant, roided out barbarians. There's the whole Thule set of figures they've done, and they had some really nice ones in this set too. I love that figure. But at this point, I mean, I'm basically just probably preaching to the choir a bit, but absolutely, like I said, a lot of fun stuff available. Another of the air pirates. 3 arms, because why not, right? A lot of fun to be had there. And like I said, do check out that survey if it's still available. Get yourself the freebie. Hit up the Penitent Crusade. Take a look at those models. In the future, if you find this, at least they will be available. There is a ton of stuff that we didn't even mention, like the kind of Stormcast-sized bulwark models with their big shields, which I know have been used on a couple of other Bestiarium releases. In fact, there's a few of them hanging on their giant Ettins, which I thought was kind of a cool touch. You've got cavalry, you've got archers, you've got siege weapons. I mean, anything you can imagine, they've got it covered. Victims on, impaled on stakes. There's just a ton of stuff. Take a look, enjoy it, because I know I have been. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and see you back here soon. Bye-bye.